and move right along. So this is going to be my brief plot summary with all my lovely pictures and Raven's face. I enjoy that picture very much. I don't know why. You don't see her being expressive, so. And this is actually my background picture when Starfire sneezes and everybody's like blown away and smoking. I'm also talking about Trouble in Tokyo, so we'll talk about that too. Moving right along. Alright, this is season 1, which is when we get to see the Titans for the first time. This one's mainly about Robin and Slade. Of course, there's the couple filler episodes that are always interjected in all the seasons with random people. Starfire, like, she doesn't have her own season, but she has several episodes in each one. So in this season, of course, we see Robin finding out who Slade is and trying to fight him, and ends up becoming his apprentice and kicking the crap out of the other Titans except for Starfire, because we all know he likes her and hasn't actually told her. So we all know he loves Red X, which honestly, I love Red X. I'm sorry, I do. But he becomes Red X, he makes all that on his own, and then eventually fights back and saves the Titans and becomes the leader again. I just want to point out, like, after this, they had a hard time trusting him for a little while, and Starfire is the only one that stood up for him, kind of, which I like her for. Terra season. We see Terra entering the Titans, because she doesn't really have a home. They're like, hey, you can come stay with us, because you've got powers too. So she stays. Beast Boy, likes her, because she's cute and laughs at his jokes, which not very many people do. She's lacking experience with her powers and controlling, so when she's fighting, she gets really worried, and then Slade comes in and says, hey, I can help you, so I'm going to help you, and ends up controlling her pretty much. They think they destroy the Titans, when in reality they've just gone underground. And then they, of course, come back and fight to take back the city, and they do, but not before Slade starts tearing the place apart. So Terra creates a volcano in all of her anger and uses it to destroy Slade and turns to stone to stop it from actually destroying the city. But in the meantime, she tells Beast Boy that he is her best friend that she never had, which is adorable. I'm sorry, I do like those two together, but I don't like her betraying them. Anyway, we also see her we don't know if it's her or not. She doesn't come out and say, hey, I'm Terra. No. You see a schoolgirl that looks a lot like her, and Beast Boy pesters her incessantly until he gets her to come and hang out with him for a little bit, and it's not the same girl. Even if it is Terra, she's different. She's not the same Terra that he knew, and he learns from that and kind of moves on. Season 3 is Cyborg season. We see him learning to grow and mature with who he is. He had a hard time accepting what he is, but now that he's with the Titans, he can finally be who he is and know that people care, and he takes care of them as well. So he infiltrates Hive Academy along with Bumblebee, which he didn't know was infiltrating it like him. But he goes and he becomes stone, which he has rings to make him look normal, as well as when he smashes his fists together, he becomes almost like the Thing. He turns to stone, obviously like his name. So he does that and ends up fighting Brother Blood, and stuff goes down, and eventually Titans East is created out of all that mess. So that's when all those characters are introduced, and we see the Hive students kind of have to go out on their own, like Jameson and all of them have to go out on their own because they are no longer part of the Hive Academy because it gets destroyed. Season 4 is all about Raven. I'm sorry, this is probably one of my favorite seasons because it does touch on a lot of bases with her, because she's a very mysterious character. We don't know a whole lot about her. But we find out that on her birthday, Trigon's supposed to come out and take over and basically destroy the world. So she doesn't want that to happen, and she tries to ignore it, but it happens, but they fight back. Slade comes back in this season because Trigon so much gets him. He's not actual Slade, it's not flesh and blood, but he does come back and fight, and then Slade ends up fighting with Robin to save Raven, who's in child form, after she's destroyed, to go get her, and Slade goes to regain himself. And then we eventually see Raven going white and fighting her father, and they end up destroying him, and that's when the world reverts back to normal, whatever normal is in Jump City. And then season 5 is mostly about Beast Boy and getting all the Titans together. and to fight the Brotherhood of Evil. This is also where the Doom Patrol is introduced, which is where Beast Boy was originally a superhero. He left the Doom Patrol because of the leader, and they get along, but not as much, and you see them really start to click near the end when Doom Patrol realizes that the Titans can help, because the leader thought that they were just a bunch of children and couldn't do anything, and in reality the Titans ended up saving them. So this is when they have several different sections where a team is set out and they end up getting attacked by all the villains they've already fought. So we have all these villains in one place thinking the Titans are done, but they're not. Beast Boy is there, Panther is there. I'm trying to remember who else. One of them is, and one of them gets frozen. But Jericho that's the one I was thinking of. But they end up going, and they know they're not very many, but they go in, guns blazing, saying, "Hey, we're still alive," and fight. And people come out and help, and we see all the Titans fighting back, and most of the villains end up getting defeated again. Which you think getting their butt kicked a second time would give them a reason to stay in hiding, but that doesn't really happen. So Trouble in Tokyo is, of course, added later on in the series, but we see them going on vacation to Japan. It's not really vacation, as Beast Boy would like it to be. They end up getting attacked by Psychotech, which is the blue dude up there. They get attacked in the city, and they're like, "Hey, where's this guy from?" "Oh, they're from Japan. So let's go to Japan and investigate." Well, they end up meeting the policeman, Daiso. He seems polite, but he's not a very good guy. All the while, Robin is investigating and getting arrested and running from the police. Beast Boy is enjoying himself, karaoke and women, and Cyborg is eating his heart out at a buffet. Not all that uninteresting and usual for them. They end up finding out that Daiso is actually controlling Brushogun, who is supposed to be like a legend or a story, but he's actually real. He can create characters out of his works, his paintings, his drawings, and that's where all the monsters have been coming from, and Daiso is controlling all that. So he ends up merging together with Brushogun, becoming this wicked monster tearing up Tokyo, kind of like Godzilla. And of course, it's the Titans, he gets defeated. But this is when Robin and Starfire have their first kiss, so I was extremely happy they left the season off with that, because I shipped them. So, anyway, we'll move on. So, I own nothing, obviously. I did not create this, I did not write it or draw it. I just like Teen Titans a lot. And I'm surprised they let this panel here, but then again, this place is very welcoming of American things as well. So, I'm really happy to be able to do this panel and share my love of Teen Titans, because they're kind of fading out, but with the new season, Titans Go, it's coming back a little bit, but I'm sorry, I will not watch the show. It's not the same. One of my friends told me that she said Raven and My Little Pony in the same sentence, and I said no. Nothing against My Little Pony, I actually want to watch it, but with Raven, I'm sorry, I can't see it, and it makes me a little angry inside. But all this information that I have found is on the Teen Titans wiki page at teentitans.wikia.com. That place is amazing. If you want to know anything about any of these characters, you will find it there. Since I have a little bit of time, I do have one of the Teen Titans discs, so we can watch part of an episode. But I do want to go over one or two more things that I forgot to mention. Starfire has a brother in addition to Blackfire. His name is Wildfire. He ends up leaving Tamaran because they wanted to protect him. And he is out fighting with another team, and they actually don't know where he is right now. Starfire, actually, I found this really sad. After she was captured by the Gordanians and going to be a slave, the only reason she became that was because of Blackfire. She kind of said, "Here, take her and leave Tamaran," so they did. And her parents ended up dying out of grief because of that. So that's why we never see her parents at all. At least that's what it says in the comics. And Tara, actually, with all her brother actually does eventually find Beast Boy, and they were tempted to go visit Tara in school, and they left her alone because they didn't want to bother her in her new life. So, is there anything that you guys want to talk about right now? Because we have half an hour, so yes.
Obviously, you probably don't ship it very much, but Beast Boy and Raven.
I do, actually.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Okay.
Actually, in the comics, later on, they do start dating.
Together, yeah.
They start dating. I was very happy.
A lot of people for a long time did not, if they just watched the show, did not believe me that there was anything. I'm like, they purposefully wrote there to be something because of the comics.
Yes, that's why I'm very happy they continued with this series and put that in there because they're like the married couple. They argue all the time, and that was the purpose in the show, and they wanted to continue with that. It's also kind of the same with Starfire and Raven, like how they're complete opposites. There's a reason for that, and they become friends because of that, like which is obvious in real life. Like, how many of you guys have a friend that's opposite of you, and everybody who does not think that you should be friends? Well, obviously you, 'cause you're my opposite. See, so a lot of this stuff is actually relatable to real life. Like, I remember the episode with Blackfire and like sibling rivalry. That's very, very true in my life with my sister. So I'm sure a lot of you guys can connect with parts of these episodes, like with Thunder and Lightning, just doing things, breaking things because they think it's fun. Well, once you realize that you're hurting people, they change and become heroes too. That's true. Like, most people sometimes don't think about what they're doing. Once they do, some of them will, become the hero and change, and some of them won't. I mean, they still become the villains. So a lot of this stuff is still relatable, and despite the fact this is more of a kid's show, I still think it applies to my life, even though I'm going on 20. So, all right, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? We can talk, or we can watch an episode of Teen Titans. It doesn't matter to me what we do. Anybody? I'm not picking this myself, so I'm asking you guys. Anybody?
I've been watching Teen Titans Go, and it's not the same, no, but it's actually really funny, and it still portrays the characters really well. When your friend was talking about Raven and My Little Pony, which is a sentence, they play it off like it's one of those Raven really only just watches it to watch it.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. I might actually consider watching it in that case. But I don't watch TV very much, and I don't record it, so if any of you guys watch it, please tell me how it ends and how it goes, and I might consider it. All right, anybody else have anything to say? This is your time to talk. If not, I will continue with playing Teen Titans. Anybody? Anybody? Once? Twice? Gone? Okay. Un momento, por favor.